all, and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I'm here in Ponytown on my party island for another episode of Extreme Island Makeover. That's right, we're going to be remodeling an island today, and I recently got a comment suggesting to remodel the default island. That's right, I have the default island here. It is very basic, of course, and I had a request to make it over, do a makeover of the default party house. And island and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that. This video is gonna kind of be in two parts, kind of. I'm gonna do a future video where I remodel the actual inside of the default party house. I will remodel this for a future video. Expect to see that at some point. It might be a couple of weeks because I have so many other projects planned. It might be a week though. I might squeeze it in and do it just so it's done. But for now, we're just gonna focus on just the outside, and I have some ideas, let me tell you. So let's get into it and start. I think starting right here where you get off the boat is a perfect place to start. For starters, it always felt weird that there's just like a gift pile here and then some barrels and stuff like that, and then little seating area here. I think we can totally redo that, so let's get into it and try to redo that whole area and stuff like that. I think starting with this right here, maybe adjusting the terrain so that we have a dock would be a good place to start. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to turn this into a dock now instead. So after all of that, this is what we have for the first part of this little thing. I put some fruit boxes and some storage looking things, you know, on the boat, so it looks like they're shipping things off their island and onto their island and things like that. I moved these barrels. I decided that I don't really want to try and delete too many things off of the island. I mostly just want to move things on the island because I kind of feel like they all kind of have their own little purpose. But I moved all the barrels back here and also added this basket of barrels back here because there used to be a way to unlock certain baskets and everything like that. So as you can see here, they have little eggs in them and everything like that. You were able to unlock these during the Easter event last year, or I think it was this year. It might have been last year. I don't know. But anyway, I figured you should be able to access every kind of thing like that right off the get-go, other than the little toy stash that could probably work somewhere else. But overall, I decided that maybe it's sort of like a little trade kind of area. So maybe you have some crystals here that you moved onto your island that you're going to do something with. Perhaps you're studying it or something. Some kind of weird lore there. And then, of course, I added a rope thing here. I don't know why. I just felt like the ropes made sense to have somewhere near this area. I was going to put it on the boat, but it doesn't float, obviously, so it looked weird. But anyway, that's what we have for this area. Now let's move on to the pathway that leads up to your house. And for this, I have a very simple idea. For this, I think quite simply, we can have a little bit of a stone pathway. And so, after all of that time later, we have this. My idea simply was to have this little stone pathway that leads up to the house. I might still add some sort of like a welcome mat or something like that here. I'm not sure. I kind of want to leave it a little bit default-ish there. I'm not sure though. But essentially, I wanted this little pathway, little stone pathway. I decided to kind of change this area as well since it was kind of boring. It was just a little lantern there in the middle. I moved the lantern over here. I added some food stuff here, so it looks like you're having a little picnic hangout spot or something like that. I even added this rose bush here, which again I think would be good to have on the default island, just because of the fact that it gives the players access to something without having to customize the island themselves. And I think the players should be able to sort of get things like this on their island year round. Not necessarily year-round, because obviously during winter it's that instead, but they should be able to get these things on their islands without having to, you know, place it themselves and then go grab it and everything like that. The last thing I did over here was add this tree here and put these little weapons, if you will, these tools, not weapons. I put these tools down here. The idea of putting these tools here essentially was that I wanted it to be where players might get curious. They might be like, oh, that's a shovel. Can I do anything with that? They might click it. Then they'll see that suddenly they have access to some sort of item that they can suddenly do something changed. There's like a tile thing, and if they get curious, maybe they click the screen and like, oh heck, I can change the terrain. Whoa! And then they'll start, putting terrain, and eventually they'll figure out that they can scroll the wheel or press a certain button to do other things, and they would slowly get more better at those tools. And overall, I think it makes them curious. Obviously, you can put the toolbox here as well. When I reset the island, the toolbox wasn't here for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't there, but it made me realize that the toolbox, it works. I just don't think it's the best way to kind of show players like, hey, there's tools that you can do to do certain things. So like I said, a player might come here for the first time ever, be curious of what this is. They'll see that this is an item stash. They'll click it. They'll get random objects and stuff like that. Things that they probably wouldn't be able to normally get. I guess you could technically get all of these other than that little letter there. But they would get curious, and so they would click on some of these weapons or these tools, whatever you want to call them, and maybe they grab this saw or something like that, like, heck yeah, and then they see that something came up, it's little fence post, or I think it's default to this. They'll see that and they'll click the screen and be like, oh, it's not doing anything, and then they'll eventually realize that they have to drag it. I just think having the tools laid out in front of them might make them curious enough to pick it up, and then once they pick it up, they'll realize, hey, these things can actually do something, and then that'll kind of help them a little bit learn the tools a little bit more in a way. I think that's just, I don't know, it's just something in my head that would work. Instead of having the item stash sign here, you could easily put the toolbox there to kind of show the players that, like, hey, all of these objects are in that toolbox, so you might not necessarily want to get rid of it unless you're trying to get rid of it for some kind of special, customization or whatever. So I think the toolbox can be moved here as well. But that's that. Let's move on to the rest. That's where I'm going to do everything else, and then I'll talk to you after I'm done with that. So after all of that time, here's what I have on the new reformed version of the party island, the default party island. So starting here at the docks, we come right off, we have everything here. I replaced jack-o'-lantern box thing that was here. I did that for a very specific reason that I'll show you in a moment, but I did that there. And then moving along, we have the stone pathway, all of these tools. I added a snowman there that would be very seasonal, obviously, during this time of year, winter, whatever. It would be there. Other times it just wouldn't, things like that. So there's a couple of things that are like that I think should just disappear outside of winter. But anyway, we have the stone pathway, which I expanded to start going downward, and downward we get this little area down here where this little boat is. Now I figured a good idea for this boat would be to sort of store away things that are for other seasons. So we have that toy stash there, we have the jack-o'-lantern box, we have some leaves which you can equip, so I think it's a good idea to have those on there, and things like that. But we have all of these things here, and I think this is a good idea because of the way that because of where the toy stash is. It'll be like, oh, just go there, go straight down. It's all the way at the bottom on that little boat. It's a good, easy way to kind of say where it is. Otherwise, I guess technically it's not hard to tell everyone that, hey, you come off your boat, there's a toy stash right there. I think you might be able to, move things around, and you might figure a way to add a toy stash here or something like that. But overall, having the toy stash on the island somewhere, it just looks really weird. It doesn't look inspired. It's just very random. So I figured a good place to put it would be down here, since this boat isn't doing anything anyway. There's no ever real reason to go on it or anything. So I figured we could give it a use and just put some seasonal things there. Moving along, I added a beach. I didn't want too many things on this beach because my idea simply was that people would come down here, they would see that there's a beach, they would see that there's sand and some shells and some palm trees and things like that. And then my idea would be that they would immediately go, oh, hell yeah, there's a beach. Oh my god, I wonder if there's other beach items that I can place, and then they'll try to search for beach items and then start, working on some, beach stuff. That's kind of the idea of this. This little area is mostly just an inspiration corner, so to speak, to get the player to come over here and be like, oh, hell yeah, I love beaches, or I love this or that. And then they'll kind of maybe expand on this beach and add some of the other things, such as the sandcastles, the coconuts, and so on. So I think that was a good idea for that down here. This area here is just to give the players something to kind of eat, to kind of show them that there's a lot of things that you can eat in this game. So just pop a squat, sit down and eat some things, and enjoy each other's companies. You can sit across from each other and enjoy the picnic and everything like that. I think it's a nice little idea. I think it just works. Moving along, I did add that doormat there, but moving along, I didn't really change this area too much, but I did add some stuff inside of here. I added a snowman here, again, which would be seasonal. It would disappear during like summer and things like that. Then I added 2 rose bushes here because I figured it would be sort of like a place that they're farming things. So maybe they're farming some flowers, maybe they're farming some pumpkins. And then I added this. I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not, but I figured I might add like a houseplant or 2 here. I only put 1 because I wasn't sure if it would look good or not, and I'm honestly still not sure if that's a good idea to have that there or not, but I decided to put it there. Moving along, we still have this little dirt pathway that leads up into this little area here. This little area here is slightly important in my mind, just for the simple fact that it kind of shows the player that, hey, certain things act differently when they're in water. So we have this little bridge here, which not only would inspire them to make their own bridges to other islands and things like that, but would show them that, hey, certain things bob up and down when they're in the water. Then it comes up here to an area that doesn't really have anything going on. I figured this area just wouldn't have anything. It would just be something that would be really easy for the player to just kind of clear up and then kind of do their own thing too. But I added some snow piles and stuff like that. Honestly, that is a very optional thing. I don't think it's exactly the best thing ever, and I don't know how all of that works well together, but overall, I think it's just a simple little thing to have players come up here. They can sit down, they can have a muffin or 2 while they're up here. Overall, there's not really anything else I did. I kind of left this area blank because, again, I kind of wanted to give the player the mindset that, hey, let me add some stuff here and things like that. So that's kind of the idea of that little area still being left blank. Overall, I think I did a pretty good job. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. One more detail that I want to add here is that nothing is a default color, and I think that's important because it kind of shows the players that, like, when they grab, you know, the hammer to start placing things, and they go to the blankets, for example. If they wanted the blankets, they wanted a blanket, it's defaulted to red. They would probably be questioning, why is it red? Why is it defaulted to red? That's so weird. I don't understand why it's red. How can I change it to blue? I want it to be a blue like that. And it would kind of get them into the mindset of trying to experiment, just kind of see how they can change the color. And maybe they would see that there's a paintbrush up here at the top, and then at the same time there's a paintbrush next to the item right here. So I think maybe that would kind of get them in the idea of, like, hey, I can actually change the color of things. So that was kind of the idea of having nothing be the default color. And overall, I think that's kind of a neat little small detail that might get them in a specific mindset. So overall, this is the island. Let me know, like I said, in the comments below what you think of it. And yeah, that's going to do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please do like, subscribe, and share, and do all of those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.